Hi, everybody. Well, it is that time again. Super Bowl Sunday is coming up. This year's Super Bowl is the Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers. As I always say this time of year, it is bittersweet because it is both the most exciting time of the football season. It's the culmination of all the games throughout the year and the two best teams going for the championship. There's all the fanfare around the halftime show and the commercials, and it's of course a exciting event that we all love to gather for, but it also commemorates the end of the football season and 7 dark months of no football. So I am going to take it all in. I have 6 bets that I'm going to be putting down. Most of them are half-unit bets, a couple of 1-unit bets, and then one of them is actually a parlay. So we will see if I can chip away at all at my losses from throughout the year. And one way or another, I hope we get an exciting game and a compelling finale to the 2023 NFL season. So I'm going to start off with my 2 1-unit plays. My first play for 1 unit is Brock Purdy to throw an interception. This is minus 115, so pays about a unit, just under a unit if it hits. Pretty basic logic here. He is a second-year quarterback playing in his first Super Bowl. I think it stands to reason that he could be a little rattled and potentially throw an errant pass at some point. And on the flip side, you have a Chiefs defense that has been there. This will be the 4th out of the last 5 years. So there are some veteran guys there who are going to be dialed in and ready to take advantage of a young quarterback in the big game. So I think Brock Purdy to throw an interception is a solid bet for the Super Bowl, and I'm going to put a unit down on that. My second 1-unit play is the 49ers minus 1.5 first half spread. So I would say I probably lean the Chiefs to win this game. I just am at the point where I never want to bet against Mahomes. In the same way, I never wanted to bet against Tom Brady when he was going to the Super Bowl just about every year. I think the Chiefs probably should be favored, in my opinion. The 49ers are favored by 2.5 points, but overall in the game, I like the Chiefs. However, I could see the 49ers getting off to a hot start and being up by at least 2 points at the half. I think, as a team that where a lot of guys have not played in the Super Bowl before, as is the case with the 49ers, I'm sure there were some guys who were on the team 4 or 5 years ago, and probably some guys who have been on other teams and played in the Super Bowl, but not nearly as many as the Chiefs who were there last year. I think there's a tendency potentially to come out of the gate all dialed up, maybe a little over aggressive, and maybe not pacing themselves. The 49ers may not pace themselves as much as they need to. So I could see the Chiefs maybe not emptying the tank in the first half, having the wherewithal to save some of their strength to come out hard in the second half. And therefore, I don't know, it seems very plausible to me that the 49ers will have a halftime lead. So that is my thought process on that. It pays plus 110, so a little over a unit. 49ers minus 1.5 first half. My first half unit play is I like the third quarter to be the lowest scoring quarter. I don't have comprehensive data on this, but I think third quarters overall tend to be the lowest scoring. I think defenses have a chance to regroup and come up with a good response to what the offense was able to do in the first half. And especially at the Super Bowl, the halftime is longer than that of a typical game because of the halftime show. So there's even more time to regroup, to scheme, and to rest. And I think, it's a chance for defenses to refocus and for offenses to potentially lose their momentum. So I think it's pretty plausible that the third quarter in this case will be the lowest scoring. This pays plus 230, and I'm going to do a half unit. And I think it has to be the lowest scoring quarter outright. So if there are the same amount of points in two different quarters, that doesn't hit. So it has to be by itself the lowest scoring quarter. So we'll see how I do there. My next half unit play, I am betting on Travis Kelce to be the Super Bowl MVP. Now, even taking his newfound celebrity via Taylor Swift out of the equation, and how much the league would love to see him hoisting the MVP trophy, I still think from a football standpoint, this is a really good value. It's plus 1,700. I know that quarterbacks typically win the MVP award. However, the last two Super Bowls the Chiefs have won, they've given it to Patrick Mahomes. So I kind of think they might not want to do that this time around. They might want to give it to somebody different. And, I think you could make a case for Mahomes just about every game, but if it's close, if Kelce also has a really good game, and they're thinking, well, we've given it to Mahomes the last two times. Kelce was also a super valuable player. Let's give it to him. I think there's a decent chance of that. The Patriots' first two Super Bowls with Tom Brady, he won the MVP. And the third time when they beat the Eagles in 2005, Brady also had a really good game, but they ended up giving it to Deion Branch, who was the best receiver. But, I think there was sort of a thought that they just didn't want to give it to Brady for a third time. So I could see the same thing playing out here, and then you have the Taylor Swift factor on top of it. It just seems like really good value at plus 1,700. So I'm going for it. Travis Kelce, MVP, plus 1,700. All right, and another half unit bet. I bet this last year. I'm probably going to keep betting it because one of these years it'll pay off. But I like the game to go to overtime. The spread is close. It's a 2.5 point spread, which says to me that Vegas and the so-called experts think it's going to be a tight game. So it seems plausible enough that it could go to OT, and this pays plus 1150. A half unit would pay about 5.5 units. And, again, I think there's good value. So I'm going to roll with it. Half unit. The game to go to overtime at plus 1150. And then my last bet is going to be a same game parlay. Obviously, because there's only one game. And I'm going to do just a half unit, and it pays plus 1553. So half unit would be about 7.5 units if it hits. I have the over on Rashee Rice and George Kittle receiving yards. I think it's actually alt receiving yards, so it's a little bit below what the line is officially set at. So over 60 for Rashee Rice, over 40 for George Kittle. It seems pretty plausible that they'll both hit that. I mean, they're two of their respective quarterbacks' top targets. So it seems, pretty reasonable to expect Rice and Kittle to each get 60 and 40 yards respectively. I added in a anytime touchdown for George Kittle and also an anytime touchdown for Isaiah Pacheco, the Chiefs running back. Two players that, are pretty potent in the red zone. Again, seems pretty plausible that they'll be able to punch one in each. And then the last leg is Brock Purdy over 12.5 rushing yards. He took off and ran for a couple of clutch runs in the NFC Championship. So it definitely seems like he's got it in him to do that. You factor in that it's the Super Bowl and he might be a little nervous and, a little more cautious about throwing an interception, especially maybe if he throws one early in the game, per my previous bet. He might be more inclined to tuck it in and take off and run, and I think it's very plausible that he'll get at least 13 rushing yards. So if these all hit, again, I'd be looking at 7.5 units roughly on a half unit bet. So we'll see what happens. This is going to conclude my bets for the Super Bowl. If anyone has a bet that they like, that they feel strongly about, I'd love to hear about it. Feel free to drop me a comment. I'm always happy to maybe throw in one more at the last minute if someone makes a good case to me for another bet. Like I said, 7+ months of no more football, so got to soak it all in and take advantage of the chance to throw down a few bets while we've got it. So obviously, drop me a comment with your thoughts on my bets or any bets that you might have. I'd love to hear it. Thank you so much, as always, to my new subscribers and to everyone who has watched and listened to my videos. I hope you enjoy the Super Bowl. Best of luck if you make any bets. And, you will hear from me one way or the other with a little recap video, and then we'll transition into the off season. So hope everyone has a great rest of your week, a great night, and you'll hear from me soon. Bye-bye.